Why Ciryl Gane is being severely overlooked against Alex Pereira. Now, Dana White recently announced the co-main event of the White House, Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane, and I feel like a lot of people are counting out Ciryl Gane because Alex Pereira, he is coming off of the best performance, arguably, of his career, knocking out Magomed Ankalaev when I don't think he's really ever been knocked out in his career in less than 2 minutes, and he didn't really eat a single punch from Magomed Ankalaev, who is a pretty underrated striker. After a pretty dull first fight, his pressure looked the best it's ever been. He completely walked down Magomed, showed him no respect, and knocked him out. On top of that, heavyweight is by far the worst division in the sport. Ciryl Gane has pretty much underperformed in every single title fight he's ever had, outside of his most recent one against Tom Aspinall, where it ended in a no contest. And he has been hurt before by much less strikers in his career. But when we actually look at their skill sets, I feel like Ciryl Gane may be the most underrated and overhated ranked fighter in the UFC right now. His offensive grappling is super underrated. He took down Volkov multiple times. He had many submissions even before he was a title contender. He took down Francis Ngannou in the 5th round, and he could have controlled him probably for the rest of the round, but he tried to go for the submission and in return ended up in a much worse position. And on the opposite end, I feel like Magomed is actually a very overrated grappler. He's a striker first. Against Jan Blachowicz, he did take him down, but that was only after Jan Blachowicz was completely gassed out. I feel like the guys that he was able to take down arguably have worse takedown defense than Alex Pereira. I do think Alex Pereira has really good takedown defense. He's a very fast learner. If you compare his takedown defense from when he fought Adesanya the first time compared to his last fight against Magomed Ankalaev, at least the first time, it's a night and day difference, his defensive grappling. While Ciryl Gane's takedown defense still isn't that good, I don't see Pereira being the one to shoot takedowns on him. Now, the reason I'm saying this isn't because I think that Ciryl Gane's going to take him down every round like Holloway got done against Charles Oliveira, where he gets 50-45 and controlled. But we have to look at how Alex Pereira is going to approach this fight. It's probably going to be the same game plan he had against Magomed Ankalaev in the rematch. Relentless pressure and just walk him down, show no respect, because on the outside, I do think Ciryl Gane is the better fighter. He has better footwork. He's arguably the quicker guy, and he's a very good point fighter. What was Magomed Ankalaev's mistake in the second fight? Now, for starters, he was fighting a completely different Alex Pereira. He looked much better. He walked him down. In the first fight, he really wasn't pressuring him that much. He more was fighting on the outside a lot of times. Magomed got backed up immediately, his back to the cage, and what did he do? He didn't really do much. He didn't circle around. He wasn't shooting takedowns. He wasn't clinching up. All he was doing is just throwing teeps to the body kicks at Alex Pereira. And at that distance, it wasn't going to have any real impact. It did nothing to Alex. He still walked him down. It didn't create any more distance for Magomed Ankalaev. Alex, he threw some leg kicks to stop the movement. And eventually, about a minute or so into the fight, when Magomed is backed up again, Alex Pereira throws a right hand and hurts Magomed bad. And he did end up shooting, but he was already hurt, so it didn't have the same impact. It wasn't a great entry, and at that point, he just fell down, and the fight from there was pretty much over. If he shot a takedown, he could have created some distance from it, disengaging, getting back to the center, and landing shots at distance. And this is what Ciryl was able to do against Volkov in the second fight. Volkov, he fought a much better fight, and in order to be effective, whenever Volkov got close, he shot a few takedowns, and he actually was able to complete one of them, taking down, controlling Volkov. He almost submitted him as well. When they get back in space, he needs to land something to gain the respect of Alex Pereira. I know Alex Pereira has a pretty good chin, and Ciryl Gane doesn't have that much power, but Magomed Ankalaev was able to land something big on him in the second round that made Alex Pereira respect him more and keep at distance. He didn't really walk him down for the rest of the fight. If he could do either one of these, he could stop the pressure, at least for the most part, against Alex Pereira. And even if he just gets a hold of him, he shoots the takedown, it gets stuffed. If he could keep Pereira against the cage, he could land knees to the body and just waste time here. Because one thing I will say, in the first Magomed fight, yes, Pereira's takedown defense held up, but in the fourth round and maybe a little bit in the second round, he was not able to get off the cage. Similar to Jose Aldo, who has great takedown defense, against Mario Bautista, he got held against the cage. And if that's all the judges have to go off of, they're going to give Ciryl Gane the fight. They're going to give him the close rounds. I know it would be extremely boring, especially at the White House, but I feel like this is a good move for Ciryl Gane. We saw at moments he held Volkov against the cage, who is much bigger than Alex Pereira. While Pereira wouldn't really take any damage, and I don't know how much this would stop Alex from pressuring, if he gets held up against the cage for an entire round, like the 4th round against Magomed, I don't think he's going to have relentless pressure again. I could actually see the judges going with Gane for one of the swing rounds because he got so much control time, and everyone calling it a robbery, but people have to understand, if Gane is landing more for the first 2 minutes, even if it's super close, and he holds Pereira against the fence for 3 minutes, they are going to give him the round. Even if no damage is done, the judges don't have anything else to score on, especially if he does this multiple times in a round. And overall, I just think that Ciryl Gane is super underrated. If we look at all of his title performances, I think he beat Francis Ngannou. That 5th round, Francis did absolutely no damage. It was a close round, but I do think Ciryl Gane won that fight. He massively underperformed against Jon Jones. He went into that fight so scared, which does make me a little bit worried for this fight. But to be fair, it was on somewhat short notice, and he isn't that great of a grappler. I think his offensive grappling is good, but against Jon Jones with his defensive grappling, it just was never going to work. Jones looked so bad and slow on the feet, and every time he threw something, Ciryl Gane would just jump back. He looked super scared, and then he overextended immediately, gave the free takedown to Jones, and got submitted immediately, tapped as soon as the choke wasn't even really that deep. And even against Volkov in the rematch, yes, I think that he lost, but he didn't look that bad. I thought that the fight was super close, and I feel like that's another performance where people are a little too hard on Ciryl Gane because of the decision. His striking still looked great, but I think the deciding factor in this fight that makes me a little bit worried for Ciryl Gane and why I may lean towards Pereira, I haven't really thought of who I'm picking yet, is just the power difference. Gane isn't that dangerous. He's a volume striker, which is going to help him on points in this fight because I think he will be outpointing and landing more shots than Alex Pereira on the feet. But Alex Pereira just hits so hard, and Ciryl would have to stay safe for 25 minutes and not get knocked out. And to be fair, he has a pretty good chin. I know people talk about the Tai Tuivasa fight where he got knocked down, I think in the 2nd round. But overall, he eats a lot of big shots, even though he is somewhat defensively sound. He has good footwork. He's not easy to hit. Aspinall landed on him a few times and didn't really rock him at all. And Aspinall hits super hard. So I don't really see like a 1st round KO from Pereira like he did Magomed Ankalaev. And I think ultimately for Ciryl Gane, he has to get his grappling going. He doesn't have to take him down every single round, but if he could just take him down in 1 or 2 rounds, get Alex Pereira's respect, maybe land something with meaning on the feet, I think he could outpoint him to a close decision. I know that sounds a little crazy. I don't really know what the odds are, but I do think regardless of who wins this fight, even if Pereira comes out and knocks him out in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe even 4th round, I still think Ciryl Gane is being overlooked. I still think he's a great fighter, and he is going to give Alex Pereira, I think, a much harder fight than Magomed Ankalaev was able to do. And I think he's just going to be harder to track down with his footwork. I don't think it's going to be as easy, Alex Pereira's pressure. And if he comes in with the right game plan, which is a little risky for Ciryl Gane because he doesn't always fight like he's supposed to, I think he really can win this fight. If I had to go with a prediction right now, I haven't watched all the tape back, I would lean Alex Pereira with like a 3rd round TKO, maybe 4th round TKO. I do think, however, Ciryl Gane will be up on points before he gets finished. I think if he makes it the full 25 minutes, I think it's going to be a split decision either way. Maybe they go with Alex because he's a big star, but I really think Ciryl Gane can give Alex Pereira a real test. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this fight is close in your opinion. If you're going with Ciryl Gane, I assume he's going to be the underdog, or Alex Pereira. Let me know what you think.